zooming out and hearing everything in the city at once, and the screen getting wider. And then as he hones in on that sound of Foggy's voice in the distance, it all just becomes about that, and that we could use aspect ratio changes to do that.
There's a whole rig.
Yeah, there's a whole rig.
It's actually 3 cameras shooting that, so we can shoot to the sides, so it really feels like what Matt feels, it's like, as he can hear everything, he can hear anything. So there's actually 2 cameras pointed to the left and right as well. The visual effects team merges into the image.
The dark, crazy things that come out of Dario minds that I just adore and love. And then meanwhile, I try to inject little rom-com elements.
What do we say it was at one point? It was like rom-com meets Frank Miller. Frank Miller meets
rom-com.
Justin, Aaron, thank you both so much for sharing your time with me today on the Movie Podcast. It's so amazing, and we're so happy to have Daredevil back in the world. So congratulations on that. I know it's been a long journey.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been pretty amazing for us too. I mean, we're big fans, so it's pretty cool.
Love hearing that. That's amazing. Now, you guys have had the immense pleasure of working on Moon Knight, Loki, and now Daredevil. How did you approach each character to kind of make them feel distinct, but also work within the MCU?
I think the biggest thing for us is it's kind of like a directing cheat code, is as early as possible have conversations with the lead actor playing those characters that are as long as possible, so you can dive deeper than the words they say and what they've done before on screen and all of that. And you can just kind of find out like what core principles that they're operating from, And for example, on Loki, we had them that he has he has a premonition, because he will become the god of time at the end of it. He has a premonition that he will always end there. And so there's this kind of like deep sadness because he knows he'll lose his friends and stay on the throne. And so, once we figured that little bit of it out, we would, we could direct every scene from that basic core idea. And as we talked to Charlie and Vincent about the same, it's like, what's that hole that they're trying to fill and they can never fill, right? And it's always interesting because what it makes for like Wilson Fisk is like, he's not just a bad guy who wants power and is evil and likes inflicting harm. In fact, none of those things are exactly true for him. He's actually got something much deeper and weirder involving his love for Vanessa, and the same can be said about Matt, but I'll let Justin talk.
No, I mean that's it. Yeah. The man hit it. Nailed head.
Say no more. Say no more. No, I love that. And one thing that really had me audibly just gasp when I watched the show was the idea behind the aspect ratio changes. Like, it just made my mind explode.
That's so cool. We were tasked with they're like, guys, could you come up with a sensory experience that feels subjective to Matt? And that's where those started. So that big sensory moment at the bar at the beginning, that was something we spent a lot of hours brainstorming, and how to have the audience feel his subjective point of view of kind of zooming out and hearing everything in the city at once, and the screen getting wider. And then as he hones in on that sound of Foggy's voice in the distance, it all just becomes about that, and that we could use aspect ratio changes to do that. And we were so committed to it that we actually, when we do those, we get away from the lens we used in most of the rest of the show. And
there's a whole rig.
Yeah, there's a whole rig.
It's actually 3 cameras shooting that, so we can shoot to the sides, so it really feels like what Matt feels, It's like, as he can hear everything, he can hear anything. So there's actually 2 cameras pointed to the left and right as well. The visual effects team merges into the image.
They call it the 3-headed monster when they have to construct the camera, the camera formation for it. But also, what's really interesting about it is that visual process of trying to show an audience something in roughly 180 degrees. We had developed that for a TV show that we had done about octopuses taking over the planet. It was Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone. It's a really cool episode, and it was such a fun job. And that sentence I just said, it was about octopuses taking over the world, really minimizes the intelligence behind the script. That was actually there. It's a really smart script. But yeah, we had developed it for octopus point of view. originally, like a slightly different version of it.
I mean, it was fantastic. I love that it was incorporated so well, not just within, showing the audience exactly what Matt's powers are and what he can do, but also just within the fight sequences itself, you really feel like you're there. So guys, again, thank you so much for your time. That's all I have here today, but I'm so grateful for it. And I can't wait to see the rest of the show. Only seen the first 2 episodes and I'm very excited to see where the rest of it goes.
That was cool to go at a deep dive on a 5-minute interview. That was fun. Thank you for that.
You guys killed it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Sana, Dario, thank you guys both so much for joining me today. I gotta start off by saying congratulations on the series because I'm so glad it's finally coming out. How do you guys feel?
Good. Tired?
It's hard to explain. I always kind of say that it's like a tunnel. They called and they were like, "Oh, would you like to do this?" I was like, "Yes." And then 18 months later, I'm shot out the other side of a tunnel, and we're doing it again. I feel great. I'm equal parts excited and terrified. I'm really glad that the response has been so strong. And it's something that we've been working on for so long. We're just so happy to have it out there. And people, fans like us get to take this ride.
I can't wait. I truly can't wait. It's been a very, very long journey.
Longer for you than for me. Yeah.
It's been a very, very long time, and I'm grateful, and I'm excited about all the reactions we've seen so far. So, hopefully people will love it.
That's great. Sana, I do have to start off by saying, first of all, thank you so much for Miss Marvel. Representation alone for people like from our community was huge, but for people like my 16-year-old sister Fizza, seeing someone that can look like her on screen with her same problems minus superpowers was pretty fantastic.
Thank you. That truly, truly, truly means a lot. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, having worked on shows like Miss Marvel and obviously The Punisher, how much of this made it easier to kind of get into Daredevil Born Again?
So I feel like Dario and I were a really good mix because of that.
Exactly. I think it is like the chocolate in your peanut butter thing, because it's kind of like, one of the fun things about working with Sana in the room is she comes from editing. She has a real idea of narrative throw, like what we seed in here and play out later. And then coming from something that could be called a lighter touch, like Ms. Marvel, from something that is probably the darkest, heaviest touch of Punisher, Daredevil has elements of both, really. I don't think that Daredevil is as relentlessly heavy as something like Frank Castle, but at the same time, it is a darker edge of the palette. But if you don't have moments of humor, if you don't have that laughter that bursts the tension, if you don't have
romance,
if you don't have a little bit of like humanity and the messiness of humanity, it doesn't work as well. So it really was. I had not met Sana before. I hadn't worked with her before, but this has been a joy.
Yeah, it's been really, really awesome. And just like the dark, crazy things that come out of Dario minds that I just adore and love. And then meanwhile, I try to inject little rom-com elements.
What do we say it was at one point? It was like rom-com meets Frank Miller. Frank Miller meets
rom-com.
Why not?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right?
It's actually, there's no rom-com in Daredevil, I assure you. There is not. We look at like the little
spurts. I haven't seen it all yet, so I'll keep my eyes out if I do see any hints of it for sure. Now we've seen Matt cross paths with, Spider-Man and She-Hulk in the MCU so far. Was there ever like a dream list of characters that you kind of wanted him to interact with in Born Again? I mean, I know we get to see the Punisher show up. Maybe we'll have, Danny Rand, Luke Cage, or Miss Marvel's just across the bridge.
I think that the fans have dream lists. Sana has a dream list. I definitely have a dream list. And that's a constant conversation. Anything and everything is possible, and that's what's fun. But yeah, as I said before or earlier, Hell's Kitchen in this street level area of the Marvel universe, it's got a pretty deep roster of people. And I think that if we get the chance, I would love to bring some of them in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Can't wait for that. Folks, thank you all so much again for your time. Really loving what I'm seeing so far the show. Can't wait to see all of it because it's so nice to have Daredevil back. And again, thank you for your time. Hope we can talk again in the future.
Right on. Thank you so much.